Here's a strange pattern I keep seeing. Someone's income finally goes up, a raise, a new job, a business that starts working, and within about 6 months the money is just gone. Not on anything crazy. A nicer car, a nicer apartment, a few good dinners. None of it was a mistake exactly. But a year later they check their accounts and nothing actually changed. Same stress. Same where did it go? Just a fancier version of broke. Here's the thing nobody tells them. It's not that they spent on the wrong stuff. It's that they spent on only one kind of thing and skipped the other kind entirely. Today I'm giving you both. 12 upgrades, plus one bonus at the end, split into 2 accounts. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which one you've been ignoring. The frame. Every single upgrade you can make with money feeds one of 2 accounts. The first is your growth account. This is money that makes more money. You put $1 in and mathematically, provably, more dollars come out later. We can put an exact number on it. The second is your peace account. This is money that removes friction from your actual life, better sleep, a body that still works at 60, dinner with people you love instead of a spreadsheet. It doesn't show up on a net worth statement. It shows up in how your Tuesday feels. Almost everyone I know does one of 2 things wrong. Either they dump everything into the peace account and call it living a little while free, guaranteed growth money sits untouched. Or they hoard everything in the growth account, watch the number climb, and quietly build a life they don't enjoy living inside. You need both. So for each of these 12, I'll tell you flat out which account it feeds, and some of these will surprise you. Let's start with the one costing you money right now, while you're not even looking. 1. The cash that's quietly shrinking growth account. If you've got money sitting in a regular checking account beyond what you need for bills, it feels responsible. It is quietly one of the worst financial decisions available to you. A standard checking account pays you next to nothing, call it 0.1%. Meanwhile, prices go up roughly 3% a year on the long-run average, sometimes hotter. So $15,000 sitting in checking loses about $450 of real buying power this year alone. Nobody stole it. It just evaporated. But that's the small problem. The bigger one is opportunity. Move that same $15,000 into something earning a modeled 7% a year, a broad index fund, historically reasonable, never guaranteed, and here's what happens over time. In 5 years, you're roughly $5,700 ahead of where checking would have left you. In 10 years, about $13,500 ahead. In 25 years, that one deposit alone is worth roughly $58,000 more than if it had just sat there. Same money. One version sits still and quietly loses. The other compounds. This fix costs you 15 minutes and $0. Move whatever you don't need for the next few months out of checking and into a high-yield account or brokerage. Which raises the obvious question of how much you actually need sitting in reserve. Hang on to that because it's coming up at 2. The free money you're leaving on the table growth account. This is the one I'd tattoo on people. Your employer's retirement match. A match is your company offering to hand you free money on the condition you save some of your own first. A common structure, your employer matches 100% of what you put in, up to 4% of salary. On a $90,000 salary, you contribute $3,600. They add another $3,600 on top. That is an instant 100% return before the money has even touched the market. There is no legitimate investment on earth that reliably doubles your money the second you deposit it. Except this one. Here's the part that should actually bother you. Plenty of people contribute just enough to feel responsible without hitting the match ceiling. Say your plan matches up to 4%, and you're only putting in 2%. You are turning down roughly $1,800 a year every year for free. The model that lost the match is growing at 7% for 25 years, and you've walked away from about $114,000. Not a typo. That's close to a house down payment, forfeited quietly, one paycheck at a time. Go check your payroll portal this week. Find the words employer match. Confirm you're hitting the full amount. This is the single highest, purest, fastest return on this entire list, and it costs you nothing but a login. 3. Your sleep setup piece account. We're switching accounts completely. This one will never show up on a spreadsheet, and I'm not going to pretend it does. You spend a third of your life in a bed, and it's often the least upgraded object in the house. Most people spend more on their phone case than their pillow. The research here doesn't need dramatizing. Poor sleep measurably degrades next-day focus, mood, and judgment, night after night, without you noticing the accumulation until you're 3 weeks in and wondering why everything feels harder than it should. The fixes are boring on purpose. A mattress that actually supports your spine. Blackout curtains if light leaks in. A white noise machine if you live somewhere loud. None of it is exciting content. All of it compounds into how every other hour of your day performs, which is exactly why it sits at the front of the peace account list instead of the back. 4. Your actual emergency number, peace account. Remember the question about how much cash you should actually keep back. Here's the honest answer, and it's a peace upgrade, not a growth one, because its entire job is to remove fear, not generate return. Most advice says 3 to 6 months of expenses. The more useful version is this. The number should match how replaceable your income is. If you're in a stable, easily reemployable role, 3 months of essential expenses is genuinely enough. If your income is commission-based, freelance, or tied to one client, you want closer to 9 to 12 months. Here's why this belongs in the peace account and not the growth one. This money is deliberately not trying to earn much. Its entire value is that it lets you sleep through a layoff instead of panicking through one, and it stops you from ever having to sell your investments at a loss because your car broke down at the worst possible time. Calculate your number once, park it in a high-yield account, and stop thinking about it. That's the whole upgrade. 5. High-interest debt growth account. Back to hard math. If you're carrying a credit card balance at 22 to 28% interest, this beats every other growth upgrade on this list, full stop, before you even consider investing a single extra dollar elsewhere. Here's why. A 7% market return is a good long-run bet. A guaranteed 24% return from not paying that interest anymore isn't a bet at all, it's certain. A $6,000 balance at 24% APR costs you roughly $1,440 a year just sitting there, doing nothing for you before you've spent a cent of it on anything. The order matters. Capture your full employer match first, since that's an instant 100% return. Then throw everything extra at any debt above roughly 8 to 10% interest before you invest another dollar in the market. This isn't glamorous advice. It's just the correct math. 6. A skill with a direct line to more income, growth account. Once the leaks are plugged, one of the highest returning places for spare money is back into your own earning power, not a broad degree, the targeted stuff. A certification, a specific technical skill, something with a visible line to a raise or a new role. Rule of thumb. If the thing pays for itself within a year, it's almost always worth doing. Say a course costs $1,200 and it helps you land a $8,000 raise. Payback period, under 2 months. Everything after that is profit, and because raises tend to compound with you across your career, an $8,000 bump held over 20 years is worth roughly $160,000 of unlocked earnings from a $1,200 course. There's a quieter category too. Skills that don't change your title but change how you're seen doing your job. Speaking clearly in a room. Negotiating. These decide more promotions than raw technical skill does. Ask yourself which single gap is costing you the most right now, and close it. 7. Insurance nobody wants to talk about. Growth account. This is the upgrade almost nobody covers, and for anyone actually building something, it might be the most important on the list. Term life insurance and umbrella liability. Term life is a simple deal. Fixed years, fixed payout if you die, nothing else. For a healthy 35-year-old, $500,000 of coverage over 20 years runs somewhere around $25-30 a month. Under $1 a day to ensure your family's entire financial future. The trap to avoid: whole life insurance, which bundles in an investment product and can cost 10 to 15 times as much for the same death benefit. For almost everyone protecting a family, plain term is the answer. Then umbrella liability, the upgrade for people who now have something worth losing. It sits on top of your home and auto coverage and catches the lawsuit or judgment that blows past your normal limits. A $1 million umbrella policy runs roughly $300-400 a year. This doesn't grow your money. It prevents one bad afternoon from erasing everything else on this list. 8. The 5 small broken things in your home, peace account. People tolerate things in their own home they'd never accept anywhere else: the drawer that sticks, the bulb that's been out for 2 months, the chair that's just uncomfortable enough to avoid. Individually trivial. Collectively, it's a low hum of friction in the one place you're supposed to feel most at ease, and you spend more waking hours there than anywhere else. The fixes are small on purpose. Warmer lighting instead of harsh overhead glare. Fixing the things you've been stepping around. A real desk if you work from home instead of a laptop balanced on your knees. No dollar return here. Just a home that stops fighting you. 9. Buying back your own time. Peace account. There's a kind of tired that never makes it onto a to-do list, because it is the to-do list, the invisible ledger of errands, admin, and logistics that just runs quietly in the back of your mind. If you have a family, that ledger doesn't add, it multiplies. Once you have spare money, shrinking that ledger is one of the most direct upgrades available to your daily life. A cleaner every other week. A meal service for the 2 nights that are always chaotic. Paying someone for the one recurring task you personally dread. You're not being lazy, you're buying back attention and handing it to the people you'd rather be present for. Impossible to put on a spreadsheet, completely obvious the moment you feel it. 10. Your HSA growth account. Buried inside your health coverage is arguably the best-kept secret in the entire tax code. The health savings account. If you're on a qualifying high-deductible health plan, this is the only account that gives you a triple tax advantage. Money goes in pre-tax, grows completely tax-free, and comes out tax-free when spent on medical costs. Nothing else does all 3. In 2026, an individual can contribute up to $4,400, a family up to $8,750. For a family maxing it out, the upfront tax savings alone run around $2,000 $500 a year. Invest it instead of spending it as you go. Model 7% growth, and 30 years in, a maxed-out family HSA can be worth well over $700,000 entirely tax-free for medical spending in retirement. Most people use this as a same-year medical wallet. Used properly, it's one of the strongest retirement accounts most people have never opened. 11. Your fitness setup, both accounts. This one's unusual, it pays into both accounts at once. On the P side, a body that moves well and sleeps better makes every other hour of your day easier, and it's the difference between an active 65-year-old and a fragile one. On the growth side, it's quieter, but the real healthier version of you spends less over a lifetime on problems that were preventable. Be honest about how you actually work. If you won't go on your own, the upgrade isn't willpower, it's removing the excuse: a trainer who makes skipping cost something, equipment at home, a class where people expect you. The tool matters less than picking the one that makes the habit automatic, because once the habit exists, everything downstream improves, including the mental side: therapy, coaching, even a steady journaling habit belongs here too, and they're usually the most deferred upgrade on this whole list. 12. How you present yourself, peace account. Last on the main list, and it comes right after retirement accounts, which feels almost wrong to say out loud. There's a guilt a lot of people carry about spending on how they look, like it's vain. There's reasonable evidence that what you wear shifts how you carry yourself and even how you think. The concept has a name: enclothed cognition, and I won't oversell it. What I'll say plainly: when you wear things that fit and make you feel put together, you show up differently, and you can feel the difference yourself. Not about labels. About owning a few things you genuinely feel good walking out the door in. Bonus 13, the one that matters most. Since you made it this far, here's the one I'd argue matters more than everything above it combined. Experiences with the people you love. Here's the mechanism, not just the sentiment. When you buy an object, something quiet and relentless happens to it. You adapt to it. The new car is thrilling for a month. Then it's just the car. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, the way we get used to what we own until it stops giving us anything. An experience doesn't work that way. The trip, the dinner, the day out with people who matter, it doesn't sit in a driveway depreciating. It becomes a memory, and memories tend to grow warmer with time instead of fading. The same dollar spent on a shared experience quietly outperforms the same dollar spent on a thing, and that's not a feeling, it's the actual mechanism. So here's the whole picture. On the growth account, your idle cash, your employer match, your high-interest debt, a skill that pays for itself, real insurance, and your HSA. On the peace account, your sleep, your emergency number, your home, your bought-back time, your body, how you present yourself, and the people you spend your time on. The mistake was never buying the mattress or taking the trip. That's the entire point of earning money in the first place. The mistake is leaving the free, guaranteed growth money sitting untouched while telling yourself the piece purchase was somehow an investment, just so it doesn't feel indulgent. You don't need to launder your joy through the language of returns. Claim the free money first, then spend on your life on purpose and call it exactly what it is. Of all 13, tell me in the comments which one you're fixing first and whether you're going after the growth side or the peace side. If this helped, the next video on this channel builds the exact order to fund every one of these growth accounts, step by step, worth a look if you want the full plan instead of just the list.